Hi guys, my name is Adil and I'm going to be showing you guys how to import an external file from Microsoft Excel and import it into Microsoft Access. So in order to do this, you open up Microsoft Access on your computer. You just wait for it to load. You then go into blank database. You then click onto the external data tab. You then click onto Excel. This tab will then appear. You then click onto browse and you look for the file where it's been saved. So in this scenario, mine's been saved on my desktop. It's called example patients. You then double click onto it. You click OK. You then click onto the checkbox. So this checkbox is basically saying that when your spreadsheet is displayed, your database is displayed, you will have the title of the patient name, surname, and then you have the details below. The same with the doctor. So when you have your doctor's surname, name, gender, etc., you will have all the details beneath it. This is just basically putting a title in at the top of it. You then click next again, next one more time, finish, and then you click on to close. You then go into your patient's record, right click, open, and there you have it. You have your patient's table displayed, as you can see. Okay, making changes to the fields on the patient's table. So now, on my patient's table, if you go onto it, there are a few errors. Now, you gotta go onto home, you then go onto design view, and as you can see, there's two ID numbers, which doesn't make sense because you're only meant to have one ID number, so you've got to delete one of the records. So I'm going to be deleting the actual patient ID. So you right click, go on to delete rows, and click yes again, and there you have it. Now on the telephone number, you've got to change it from number to short text. This is simply because when you're typing your number, the 0 wouldn't be displayed. For example, when you're typing in a number such as 0208 5200 7023, the 0208 won't display. This is why you've got to put it into short text, so the actual 0 will be displayed. I'm going to do it the same with the telephone number of the patient, and now I'm going to be showing how to create records on the patient's table, which is fairly straightforward. So as you can see, I have my patient record, including patient name, surname, gender, first line of address, postcode, borough, town, number, emergency contact number, emergency contact name, and another emergency contact telephone number. Now an example of a name I'm going to be typing in is Bobby, for instance. So I've typed in Bobby, surname being, for example, it could just be Ling, gender being male, and then you type in your first line of address. So I'm going to type in Oxford Road 234, Oxford Road. Just click X onto this, type in the postcode, so it will be E17 4PN, the borough being Waltham Forest. One second, Waltham Forest. Not Walthamstow, sorry, Waltham Forest. You then type in your town, the town being London. Type in telephone number, so just type in a random number. Type in an emergency contact name. So I'm going to be typing in, for example, click X onto this. I'm going to type in a name such as Sarah or Amy, sorry. I will then put in another telephone number for emergency. So 020 So as you can see, the 0 is now displayed in front of the number, whereas before it wasn't. And okay, now I'm going to be creating a doctor table and inputting a record. Now, in order to do this, what you do is, so as you can see, you have the patient, you go into create, which is at top, you go into table, you then go into design view, you then name the table doctors, for example, click OK. You type in the fields for the doctor, so the fields could potentially be doctor name, doctor surname, doctor mobile number, doctor gender. You then go into view, go into database view. Make sure you save the table before you do this. And there you have it, you have your fields. And then you simply type in the name of the doctor. So for example, doctor name could be Adil, surname could be Hussein, mobile number, just type in a random one, gender being male. Now as you can see, the ID number is, because it's an auto number, it will start from 1. So if you was to put in another number, another record, for example, the ID number will automatically be number 2. So if you create another record, the ID number will be 3, so on and so on. Okay, I will now be explaining data consistency. In data consistency, there are 4 different types. You have validation raw, validation text, input mask, and drop downs. So I'm now going to be explaining how to use validation raw and validation text. So for validation raw and validation text, I'm going to be using it on my patient record. So what you simply do is, you go on to view, you then go on to design view. So now for example, for my gender, I'm going to make a validation rule. So in order to do this, what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to go into the Microsoft Access rules, which is online. I'm going to copy this little line over here, is none or M or F. Copy that. I'm going to then go into Access, paste it into the validation rule. Then validation text, so if the user doesn't enter in the following letters M or F, a message will be displayed. So the message I will be typing will say something along the lines of, sorry, click X onto this, click sorry, incorrect letter, please try again. Or I might change it to, please enter one of the following, M or F. Now, if you go back onto the database view, make sure you save the table before. Click yes again. Now, as you can see, the gender for Abu Hussein is male. Now, if I type in F, for instance, for female, it will still make sense. But Abu Hussein is not a female, as the name is not female. However, now, if I type in a wrong letter, such as A, for instance, an error occurs saying, sorry, incorrect letter, please enter one of the following, M or F. This shows you that yes, I have now used validation rule and validation text has been applied. I will now be showing how to use input mask. Input mask essentially controls what the user is allowed to enter. So for example, in my database, for the so for your input mask, you go into design view under the staff and you go into short text, and you go into input mask, you click onto these three little dots as shown below. So then you choose one of the following. So I want my number formatted, so I'm going to choose the phone number, yes, and then I'm going to click finish. So now when I go back onto my actual database view, it will show my number in the correct number format, as I will show you now. So now, as you can see, the number for the contact number of the patient is in actual correct number format. I will now be explaining to you guys how to use drop downs, which is also known as lists in Microsoft Access. Okay, now in order to do this, you're gonna have to go on to your staff table, for example. You then go on to design view, and for example, I'm going to be changing the title. So you go on to lookup wizard, you then click I will type in the values that I want, you then click next. You then type in values you want. So for example, for title you might have, for example, Mr, you might have Mrs, Miss, or you might have Lord, you might have Sir, you might have Doctor. You then click on to next. You then click onto that little box there, limit input. That's it. Click finish. Then you go back onto data sheet view. Make sure you save the table before doing that. Now, as you can see, when you go onto the staff title, make sure you click OK on this. So when you go onto your staff title, you can now see there's a drop down, so you can choose what type of title you want depending on your actual title, being Mr, Mrs, Miss, Sir. So now I'm going to be explaining relationships and referential integrity. Now, in order to do this, you go on the top database tools and you go on referential integrity. You highlight all the boxes. I've got 2 patients as I've created my actual form for my patients, but you don't select that. Now, as the appointment field has all the foreign keys in it, you put the rest of the tables around the appointment table, and then you actually match all the tables surrounding the appointment table using its primary keys, as shown. Okay, now to actually connect the primary keys from the other table surrounding the appointment table, you click onto the patient ID and you match it to the patient ID on the appointment table. There's the same with the other, so staff ID, it will go into staff ID. Once you connect it, this tab up here will say enforce referential integrity, cascade update related fields, cascade delete records. You check all of them, and then once you check all of them, you go on to create, and then there you see it creates a one to many relationship. So now you can see the patients are one to many to the appointments. You then do this with all the other fields. So you do it with the room field and you connect it to the room ID. You do it with the doctor field as shown now. So you tick all the boxes. Once you've done this with the room, staff, doctor and patients, your relationship's completed. Okay, I'm now going to be showing the completed versions of my tables and data consistencies. So for the first one, I'm going to be showing you my appointment table. So basically, the data consistencies I have used for my appointment table are, I'm just going to show you right now. So for my date, for example, it's in date format. So the user I created an input mask, so the user has to enter the date and then the month and then the year. So it'll be like 17th of the 6th, 1998, for example. That's my date of birth, just to let you know. I've done it with time, so it has to be the hour and then it's the minutes after that. So I'll just show you how that's done. I then done a validation rule, so the user has to enter whether he's attended the appointment or not. And if the user doesn't choose either yes or no, then a tab will appear saying you have not entered it in. I've also created a drop down for the room number, allowing the user to actually choose what room number he's in. The next one I'm going to be talking about is the staff table. So for my staff table, as you can see, it has the name, surname, first line address, postcode, borough, etc. So now, for example, I've created a validation rule for the name, surname and address. So like if you don't enter anything into the address or name or surname, for example, it will say please fill out this field. It's the same for the borough as well, and it won't let you skip the stage, so you have to actually manually tap it in to actually do it. For my postcode, I've also created a input mask. So when you actually type your postcode in, it's got to be a letter, a number, then a number again, and then a letter. If you type in something else that's not letter, number, letter, then it won't let you carry on. So for example, if I done like N18 4PP, it would work. But if I put, for example, 444, it just wouldn't let you work. It wouldn't work. So this is why I've created it. So it allows users to enter their postcode correctly. I've also created a validation rule for the borough. So if you don't enter anything in, it won't work. So and for my staff number, I've created an input mask. So it just makes it easier to understand, because the first 4 digits are in brackets. So it allows the user to understand easier, and allows the user to see like what area it is. And for the gender part, I have created a validation rule, so the user has to enter in either M or F. If the user doesn't enter in M or F, a tab will appear and it won't allow them to continue. The next table I've created is the room table. So with the room table, there was only 2 data consistencies. So for the room number, I created a drop down so the user can choose like which room it is, and for the location, the user can choose like what floor it is. So as you can see, room number, I've created a validation rule as shown, and for room location, I've just created the drop down, allowing the user to choose like which room what room he's in. The next table which I created was then the patients table. So the patient table had a lot of records in it. So it had like the name, surname, postcode, borough, and everything in it basically. So I had to create a lot of data consistencies for this part. So for the patients, as you can see, I created a validation rule. So if you don't type in anything, for example your name, your surname, it just won't let you type in, it won't let you continue. For the gender, you got to type in either M or F and it'll work. But if you type in like something that's not M or F and type in a random letter like G for example, it'll say please enter M or F to let you continue. Then you have postcode. So I've created this as the format as I shown before. So it's got to be letter, number, followed by number, letter. And if you don't do this and you type in, for example, letter, number again, it just won't let you. It won't let you continue. So I've created a validation rule for the borough as well, so the user has to actually enter in something. I've also created an input mask for number, just to show the user like what area that he is in, like for example to his doctor for example. It just makes it look much easier as well. So for example, now if you go on to number, which I will just do right now, 1 second, you go on to no, so I've created the input mask for number. I'll just show you how I've done that. So you go on to number, and there I've created a validation rule, input mask. I've also created a validation text rule for name and surname, so if you don't enter in anything, it won't work. I've also created it for the emergency contact last name as well, and that's my patient table done. So now the last table I actually have is my doctor's table. So for this I have various records in it. So for the doctor table, I created a validation rule for the name, surname, address, postcode, borough. So I'm showing the postcode, so the user has to enter in number, letter, number, letter. If the user doesn't enter in like the borough, it won't let you continue. And now, for example, for the gender, again, I'll show you. You have to type in either M or F. If you don't type in M and you type in F, it will work. But if you type in something that's not M or F, like L, for example, this tab will pair saying please enter M or F. And yeah, that's my whole video complete. Thank you for watching.